everybody, and today we are going to be working on a non-objective collage. So what non-objective means is there's a picture that is not of anything. So there's no picture involved. It's just using the elements like color and line and shape to create a picture. So there is no actual picture of anything specific. It's just a pattern and design using the elements of art. So we are going to be using shapes and color to create this really cool design. And what you're going to need for this is a glue stick, a pair of scissors. You're going to need some different colored paper, 3 to be exact. You're going to need a pack of markers and of course a nice white piece of paper. All right, let's get started. Step 1 is to select your 3 colors. So whatever colors you want, you're going to select 3 of them. I've chosen red, pink, and purple, but any colors at all will work great for this project. You're also going to want to find some stencils, either stencils that you may already have in a plastic form where you can trace inside of them. Maybe you can use something that's round to trace around to create round stencils. So maybe you could use a ruler to draw straight squares or triangles. I happen to have a circle, a square, and a triangle stencil, but any shape at all will work as well. Each color paper is going to get a different shape assigned to it. Doesn't matter which way you put it, it's totally up to you. You're also going to number each of your papers with the numbers 3, 4, and 5. Again, doesn't matter which paper is numbered with which, it's totally up to you. The number that you put on the paper is how many of that shape that you're going to trace and cut out of that paper. So I have the circle stencil on my 3 paper. That means I'm going to be cutting out the circle stencil 3 times. I have my square on my 4. That means I'll be cutting this out 4 times. And I have a triangle on my 5, which means I'll be cutting it out 5 times. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take my first stencil, and remember you could use an actual paper stencil like this, or you could find something that's round that you can trace. And I'm going to trace around it 1 time, a 2nd time, and then a 3rd time. I'm going to do all my tracing of all my shapes first. As long as I've done the right amount that's on here, then that's how many I'm going to do, and I'm going to trace all the rest. Okay, I'm all done tracing my shapes. So I put 3 circles on my number 3 paper. I put 4 squares on my number 4 paper, and I put 5 triangles on my number 5 paper. Now I have to cut each of them out. I'm going to try to do it as neatly and as carefully as I can. Let's go. Now I have everything cut out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide on my composition. My composition is the arrangement of the objects on my piece of paper, the way it's going to look. So I have to decide where do I want to put these things and how do I want them to be arranged. Now the one rule is that they can't touch each other. So I can't have one on top of another one. They do need to be separated. But where I put them and how they get put there is totally up to me. So some objects can be really close together, some could be further apart. I just have to decide where I want these items and what I think looks the best in this setup. Once I've decided on my composition and the arrangement of my papers and shapes, I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm going to glue them in place. I glued everything down. Now you may have noticed that I left this one out. What I decided was I actually felt like it was a little too crowded for this extra one. So if you run into that situation, you feel like, you know what, I think there's one too many of an object you can pull 1 or even 2 out, just to make sure your arrangement really fits the paper nicely. So do what makes your work comfortable. All right, now we're ready for the marker part. What you're going to do is select the same 3 colors that you used. So for example, I picked pink, purple, and red. So I'm not going to take brown or orange or any of these other colors. I'm going to make sure that I select colors that match the colors that I used. Okay, I have my 3 colors, pink, purple, and red. You can use big markers, skinny markers. It really doesn't matter what size the marker is. You just make a decision. Now, what I'm going to do is actually do 1 color at a time. So I'm going to start with whatever color I feel like. I think I'm going to start with red. And what I'm going to do is outline every single shape on the paper. I outlined everything with my red. Didn't matter what color the shape was, I outlined every single one on the whole paper with the same color. Also, sometimes I got real close to my shape and touched it. Sometimes I left a little white gap. That's okay, as long as you're outlining. If you make a mistake, like I did over here, just fill it in, make it a thicker line. When you're done with one color, switch to another color and do the same exact thing all over again. This time, instead of getting right up next to it, you're going to get next to the line that you just did. So I'm going to make sure that I'm outlining the shape that I just did. And if that causes me to have to go off the edge of the paper like I did up here, then that is fine. If I end up touching or getting close to touching another shape, that's okay. Just outline every single one your second time. Now my 3rd color, and I'm going to outline everything again. Now one thing you're going to notice is that the shapes are starting to get much closer together, starting to touch each other and create some interesting small little like nooks and crannies. And so when you're doing your next color, you're going to have to kind of work around that. So let me show you what I mean. I can't get all the way through here. It's not going to really allow me to go through because the space is too narrow. So instead I'm just going to go around this way and skip going in between there because I can't get in between. So I'm just going to go around it. Again, I got stopped here, so I can't go through it. So I'm just going to go around instead. Can't go through, so I'm going to go around. Can't go through, so I'm going to keep going around. Just going to keep surrounding everything that I can. Every place where I see a purple space, I'm going to go around it however I best can do that. You want to make sure everything that's purple, well, at least that's my color, I'm making sure everything purple has a pink line surrounding it, unless it's in a little space that I just can't get into. Then I'm going to leave that part alone. Okay, I've used all 3 colors, and you can see that now I'm getting some really tiny little spaces in here, and the shapes are really starting to close into each other. Now I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm going to go back to my red and do it again. If there's a funny shape like this, you're just going to outline the pink inside that funny little shape. Outlining with red. Once again, I made sure anything that was pink was outlined with red, no matter where it was. And now I'm going back to purple, and I'm going to continue doing this process until the entire space is filled. If you get to a point like this where there's nothing else I can do after that, then that space is done. This space right here is pretty much done. This little space right there is done. I might be able to get one more color inside there. Keep on going until everything is finished, and we're going to see what it all looks like when we get to the end. there we have it, our finished non-objective collage. Really cool. My favorite part about this is how the shapes look like they're vibrating off the page and creating a lot of movement and rhythm just by using our lines and repetition. And it's really a fun, vibrant piece. So I hope you guys had fun making this with me, and I can't wait to see your results.